Hi, and welcome back to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Number to call if you want to join the program here in the second hour, 888-589-8840. We'll try to work your phone calls in as the hour unfolds, 888-589-8840. Now, Chuck Todd of NBC News, and Jeff, let's grab that first audio soundbite. This will just be an audio bite for those of you watching on television or video streaming at afr.net. We've got audio and video streaming, by the way, at afr.net. Great way for families and friends, family members and friends that you have that don't live in a community that has one of our radio stations that are part of the network. You can catch us on afr.net, audio and video streaming both. We have podcasts and we have apps for the iPhone, the iPad, and the Android, so you can listen on the go. Audio quality is just great on those apps. Now, Chuck Todd having a conversation with a White House aide, doesn't name the aide, but makes this accusation about the Republican Party. Let's listen.
So I threw the Lincoln analogy at a close aide to the president last week, and he said, you know, with this republic, with the way politics of Washington are today, there'd still be slavery. Lincoln wouldn't have been able to navigate the polarization between the media, between this. It was an interesting and depressing observation.
Well, you know, and just flat wrong. I mean, he's talking about the Republican Party of the 1860s, and man, if Republicans today were back then, we'd still have slavery. What he's forgetting is that in the middle of the 1960s, you had major civil rights legislation, and a greater percentage of Republicans voted for civil rights legislation than Democrats. In fact, the Republicans had to overcome the filibuster of white Southern Democrats to get the Civil Rights Acts passed. So a greater percentage of Republicans in 1964 and 65 voted for civil rights legislation than Democrats. And they had to overcome a Democrat filibuster to do it. So the Democrats opposed the 13th Amendment in 1864 and 1865. It was the Democrats that opposed civil rights legislation in 1964 and 1965. So slavery was abolished not by the Democrats, but by the Republicans. The Civil Rights Acts were enacted not by the Democrats, but by the Republicans. So that's just the truth of it. And the fact that the Republicans have not done a good job of reminding the electorate of that, that's their fault. I mean, this is marvelous stuff to have in your resume, and they just don't use it. I don't know why they don't use it, but it's the simple truth. Looking here at the voting results from 1864, the Senate passed the 13th Amendment on April 8, 1864. That's my birth date, so I'll remember that. But the Senate passed the 13th Amendment in 1864, and in the Senate, all 30 Republicans voted for it. Everyone. Every single solitary Republican voted for the abolition of slavery in 1864. Four, count them, 4 Democrats voted to abolish slavery in the Senate. The rest of the Democrats voted against the abolition of slavery. In the House passed the 13th Amendment on January 31st, 1865. Again, all 86 Republicans voted to abolish slavery. All of them, every one of them. So every Republican senator voted to abolish slavery in 1864. Every Republican representative voted to abolish slavery in 1865. Only 4 Democratic senators voted to abolish slavery, and only 15 Democrats in the House of Representatives voted to abolish slavery. So again, just to review, class, what political party is responsible for the abolition of slavery and the enactment of civil rights legislations? That would be the Republican Party. Which political party voted against the abolition of slavery in the 1860s and voted against the Civil Rights Acts in the 1960s? That would be the Democratic Party. Learn it, live it, and love it. Now, we've got this fiscal cliff thing coming up. And we're going to get to some sound bites on that. Let's grab a couple of phone calls while we're in the neighborhood. Let's go to Robert in Valdez, North Carolina. Robert, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Brian, good day. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I would love to sit down and discuss a lot of things with you people, but I got one or two questions right now.
Hit me.
Okay, you were talking about the marriage before, and how the moralities have gone away. Now the question is, what were the marriage vows in the Old Testament? How did Jacob get married to Leah?
You mean what was the ceremony or the ritual?
What was the conclusion of the marriage act?
Well, it was consummated through the act of sexual intimacy.
Exactly. So these people that, shall I say, feel like hopping from one to another, in essence, they are married to that person.
Well, but they're not, because there's a big distinction. The Bible draws a clear distinction between marriage and adultery or sexual immorality. Exactly. If you have sex with somebody that you have not committed yourself to in marriage, you're not married to that person. That's just sin. That's sexual immorality, or it's adultery.
I agree with you.
What's that?
I agree with you.
Now, there's a bonding that takes place. That's the problem, and maybe this is what you're referring to. Is there is a kind of bonding that takes place with every act of sexual intimacy, and that's why it's such a powerful force, and it has to be carefully channeled because of the damage that it can do when it runs outside its channels. The way C.S. Lewis put it, every act of sexual intimacy must be eternally enjoyed or eternally endured. All right, anything else you want to add, Robert?
Yes, I would love to add one other thing. I think the Constitution has to be amended for two things. One, any Muslim coming into this country, whether on a visa, educational thing, or something else, because the, shall I say, radical Muslims declared war on United States in 2000 on September 11th.
Uh-huh.
I think those people should have ankle bracelets put on, and if they're found doing any traitorous activity, they should be treated as a traitor, put on, and not sent back home. No. They should be put in prison so they cannot do any more damage. Because if you send them back home, they're going to come back again. Oh, hell, they'll say, United States doesn't punish us.
Well, and I appreciate your call, Robert. And, there's a real problem with Muslim immigration. And by the way, I on this topic, I don't think Chris Christie is the guy for 2016. Chris Christie is not the guy, because this guy is clueless about the danger of Islam to the West. He sent his attorney general to a mosque in New Jersey to apologize for counterterrorism efforts to keep these people from attacking us and blowing us up. And to give you a picture, Egypt's new constitution, it says this, I'm reading right from the Constitution: Islam is the religion of the state. This is in Egypt. Principles of Islamic Sharia are the principal source of legislation. So if you're a Christian or a Jew in Egypt, you can forget about it. Islamic Sharia, the principal source of legislation in Egypt. Focal Point, AFR Talk.